Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Guardians franchise here on MLB The Show 23. Today we'll be kicking off the ALCS with games 1 and 2 here at home against the Seattle Mariners. Our Cleveland Guardians are looking to get back to the World Series for a second time in 3 years. Last year, our Guardians, who won 111 games in the regular season, made it to the ALCS and got upset in just 5 games by the Toronto Blue Jays, so they're kind of out for blood today. The ALDS went about as smoothly as it could have possibly gone. We swept the Minnesota Timberwolves, winning by at least 3 runs in every game. Us and Minnesota were in a very close divisional race all season long, but when it really came down to it in the playoffs, we were the better team, getting the sweep and propelling ourselves closer to the World Series. In those 3 games, the offense produced, the pitching was solid, the starting pitching was pretty good, the bullpen was pretty good. I mean, we didn't dominate the Twins in any of those 3 games, but we won them all convincingly because we played sound, consistent, and overall really good baseball. And hopefully we can keep it going here in the ALCS against a red-hot Seattle Mariners team who's coming off a major upset in the ALDS, beating the Yankees in 5 games. The Mariners are in an interesting boat because they only won 86 games this past season and were lucky to be in a not-so-good but competitive division. Throughout the season, I felt we were getting kind of screwed over by getting the 1 seed, leading to us playing against Minnesota in the first round, who's better than Seattle. But obviously, I was kind of wrong. Seattle won 3 games in a row to beat the Yankees after they were down 2-0. And the Mariners are red hot. They're playing as good of baseball as anybody right now. And being hot in the MLB playoffs goes a long way. Any team can beat anybody in the Major League playoffs. The Mariners have a solid group of guys in the lineup, a pretty good rotation, some decent players in the bullpen as well, and they've got some familiar faces from our organization on their roster as well. Guys like Brian Rocchio, Yu Chang, and Gabriel Arias all started this series here in Cleveland. We're going to make a couple roster moves before we start. Jay Allen and Mason Wynn will be promoted to the playoff roster, whereas Marcos Villalobos and Luis Rengifo will be taken off. Neither of those 2 guys played during the 3 games against Minnesota, and I think those other 2 guys could be an asset for us. To give us a little extra motivation, the AAA team has officially won their championship, so hopefully that can encourage the big league team to maybe look to do the same. So let's get this show on the road. We've got game 1 of the ALCS here in Cleveland. Our Guardians are looking to get back to the World Series, and the only team standing in our way is the Seattle Mariners, who only won 86 games this year. They were not some great team throughout the regular season, but if we've learned anything in this series, when a team gets hot in the MLB playoffs, that goes a long way. We won the World Series in Season 3 when we had 89 wins. Last year, when we won 111 games, we did not. So that tells you what you need to know. There's a look at both lineups. On the mound for the Guardians today is the ace of the staff, Shane Bieber, who pitched pretty well in Game 1 of the ALDS against Minnesota, going 6 innings, allowing 2 runs, and getting the win. Bieber did not pitch well at all through the first half of the season, but really ever since the All-Star break, he has looked a lot more like the Shane Bieber that we all know and love. Andrew Benintendi starts things off quickly for Seattle as he belts a single up the middle. A quick opener for the Mariners as they get themselves a base runner to start the ball game. That'll bring up Bo Bichette, the superstar shortstop who signed a 9-year contract this past offseason. Goes down on the cutter. Bo Bichette was on the Toronto team who beat Cleveland in the ALCS a year ago. Jared Kelenic hit 42 homers this year, but he also strikes out on the fastball. Good start for Bieber as we go to the bottom of the first. Logan Gilbert is on the bump for the Mariners. In 5 postseason innings, has allowed 1 run so far, facing off against the Zane train, Zane Rowley, who was excellent in the ALDS against Minnesota. Playoff Zane is a different breed. When it's the month of October, this guy kicks it into another gear, and he already starts things off with a double. So Rowley is in scoring position here for the heart of the order. That starts with Ketel Marte, the former Seattle Mariner, started his career in the Emerald City as he draws a walk. Jose Ramirez belts it up the middle for a hit. Rowley will hold up at third. In hindsight, I think he maybe could have scored, but nonetheless, the bases are now loaded. 2 away now for Josh Bell, the 1-2. Swinging a miss on the curveball. The Guardians leave them loaded. Good job by Logan Gilbert to get out of the jam as nobody scores here in the first. Let's hop into the second inning now. Julio Rodriguez is up for the Mariners. He was excellent in the ALDS against the Yankees, hitting .353 throughout the 5 games, and he'll get things going quickly with a single. Abraham Toro then draws a walk, so the Mariners have 2 runners aboard. We'll see if they can get on the scoreboard here in the top of the second inning. That'll bring up Chance Sisco, who grounds it to Ramiro, over to Marte, to Bell. An inning-ending 4-6-3 double play. Shane Bieber gets himself out of the jam as this game remains scoreless going into the bottom of the second. Luis Campusano hitting in the 7-hole today, singles into right. Normally the Guardians have their catcher batting last, whether it's Campusano or Alfonso, but they're kind of mixing it up a little bit. They've got Ramon Ramiro hitting in the 8-hole today. Ramiro's going to look to strike, and he sure will! Ramiro with a blast into left field. That baby is gone! A 2-run homer for Ramon Ramiro, his first of the postseason. 419 feet for the young 21-year-old second baseman. And the Guardians take a 2-0 lead. We know Ramon Ramiro as the lefty killer. He dominates against left-handed pitching, but he can hit against righties as well, showing it there. A no-doubter from Ramiro, who really improved his power throughout the second half of the season. He hit 15 homers this year and now gets this one, along with a nice bat flip as well. Alvaro Pena is up with 2 away. He draws a walk on the slider. The Guardians have done a good job early in this game of getting consistent base runners. That'll bring up Ketel Marte, gets a hanging pitch up in the zone, and he's going to rip it into right field. A quick relay. Marte headed for second, and he is out of there. Good job by the Mariners to quickly get that ball in, but still a good inning. Ramon Ramiro has Cleveland ahead 2-0, and we go into the third. Brian Rocchio, a former Guardian, singles into right. Rocchio had a rocky career here. In Season 2, he played 1 game and suffered a season-ending injury. Season 3, he did not perform well, leading to him being in the Kyle Lewis trade the following offseason as he is gunned down, stealing second. Luis Campusano behind the dish, part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Andrew Benintendi bloops it into left. That's his second hit of the game. And the Mariners have another base runner here. They could have had first and second with nobody out had Rocchio not decided to steal. Benintendi will instead. The throw was on time, but a little bit offline. So Andrew Benintendi is safe, and he is now in scoring position. With 2 away, Bo Bichette draws a walk. So that'll give Jarred Kelenic a huge opportunity, and he strikes out on the slider. 3 scoreless for Shane Bieber. It has not been a perfect start for Shane Bieber, but he's gotten out of some jams. The Shane train is rolling. Josh Bell goes down looking on the curveball. A quick 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the third for Logan Gilbert. And the score will remain 2-0 in favor of Cleveland. Let's move forward into the fourth now. Julio Rodriguez is up for Seattle. Belts it to third, and Pena makes a nice grab. Both offenses are now really cooling off. It's not like either offense was great to begin with, but both pitchers are really settling in now. Ramon Ramiro, who had the homer earlier, swings and misses at the inside fastball. I think that could have been a walk, but instead, he swings and misses. 2 away for Jesus Sanchez, who has not yet gotten a base hit in the entire playoffs, and that streak continues as he strikes out on the curveball. Into the fifth now, Chance Sisco goes down looking on the knuckle curve. Bieber fever is rocking here in Cleveland. Shane Bieber is pitching phenomenal tonight. With 2 away, Benintendi flies out to left. 5 scoreless for Shane Bieber, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. I think Cleveland's hoping they can get another couple of innings out of them. In the bottom of the fifth, Alvaro Pena strikes out. Nice pitch by Logan Gilbert. Into the sixth now. Adam Hazley finally going to get some damage for the Mariners as that one goes off the wall. Hazley looking to head to second, and he slides safe with a double. With nobody out, the Mariners have a runner in scoring position. They've got to capitalize and put themselves on the board. Hazley now at third, 1 away for Kelenic, who strikes out. Rough day in the office for Jarred Kelenic, 0 for 3 with a trio of strikeouts. With 2 away, Ty France hits it well into center, but Jesus Sanchez makes the play. That's now 6 scoreless innings for Shane Bieber. The pitch count is teetering on 100, so we'll see if they keep him for another inning. The Mariners will not keep Logan Gilbert. He'll be removed for Robbie Ray, the veteran lefty who has transitioned from a starter to more of a bullpen role. He'll face off against former Mariner Kyle Lewis, who won the American League Rookie of the Year in Seattle back in 2020. He had some trouble staying healthy and never truly developed with the Mariners, but here in Cleveland, he has been quite good. Josh Bell hits it down the line and fair. Lewis is going to hold up at second, so that'll only be a single. Probably the smart decision because he would have been out at third. 2-1 now for Ramon Romero. He hit the home run earlier. The only player to drive in a run today, and obviously he hits well against lefties. He grounds it to third. Toro bobbles it, but he makes the play over to second. As this game remains 2-0 going into the seventh, the Ramon Romero homer back in the second inning is the only play today that has resulted in runs. Chance Sisco with 2 away, pops it into the shallow outfield, and it's caught. 7 innings, I think over 110 pitches, and 0 runs allowed. What a performance on the mound for Shane Bieber, whose pitch count is probably too high to realistically expect him to come back into the game. Robbie Ray seems to be pitching well, although he does allow a base hit to Alvaro Pena, who barely gets that ball to drop into center. So Pena is now aboard. We'll see if Ketel Marte can look to drive him in. Marte's had a solid day, and he has been probably Cleveland's best overall player here in the postseason, but he checks his swing on the fastball for strike 3. Still 2-0 as we go into the 8th inning now. We'll see if the back end of the Cleveland bullpen can close it out. Camilo Duvall in this inning, and if all goes well, Emmanuel Clase in the next. Duvall has pitched 2 shutout innings so far in the postseason, looking for a third as he starts with Andrew Benintendi, who singles into left. That's Benintendi's 3rd hit of the game. He's one of the few players on the Mariners offense today who has shown up. That'll bring up Adam Hazley, who hits it high and deep and a right. Lewis at the track at the wall. It's gone! This game is tied up! A 2-run homer by Adam Hazley, barely getting that ball to scrape over the fence. And the Mariners offense, with 1 swing of the bat, knots it up at 2. A game-changing play here in the 8th inning for the Seattle Mariners to give their offense some life and put them back into the game. That'll bring up Bo Bichette, flies it into center, and it is caught! What a catch by George Valera, who just subbed into the game the previous inning as a pinch hitter. He stayed in for defensive substitutions and just made an incredible defensive grab for the second out of the inning. Wow, what a play. That'll bring up Jared Kelenic, who strikes out for a 4th time. This time around, he goes down looking. But still a good inning for Seattle as they tie it up with Adam Hazley. That'll bring up Kyle Lewis with a moonshot. If it's fair, it's gone. And that's going to be close. And it is fair. A solo home run for Kyle Lewis. His 2nd of the playoffs. And Cleveland is right back ahead 3-2. A huge homer for Kyle Lewis against his former team, the team who traded him a couple years ago in the offseason to Cleveland. That's what I call the sweet taste of revenge. What a swing for Kyle Lewis. Got a hanging pitch up in the zone. He got a little bit excited and swung it a little bit early, and it really looked like that ball was going to curve foul, but it just barely, by mere feet and inches, stayed fair. Let's look at this replay again. What a swing by Lewis and a really bad pitch by Robbie Ray, leading a hanging pitch right up into the middle of the plate, 432 feet as we look at the replay. Yeah, that one hooked over the foul pole and gone. That'll bring up Dansby Swanson coming off the bench with 2 away. He singles into center. Swanson has done well in pinch-hit opportunities throughout the postseason as he's 3 for 6 in total. That'll bring up Ramon Romero now, hits it well into right, and that one will be caught. So an eventful 8th inning. The Mariners tie it up, but Cleveland responds with a homer of their own by Kyle Lewis, and that means it's Emmanuel Clase time. The All-Star closer is going to look to get his 3rd save of the playoffs. He has not allowed any runs so far as he strikes out Ty France. The Mariners are down to their final strike. It's Abraham Toro who singles into right. Tying run is aboard. The potential winning run is up at the plate. It's Chance Sisco with a weak little dribbler. Alfonso makes the play, and this game is over. Cleveland takes home Game 1 of the ALCS 3-2 in a very exciting pitcher's duel type of matchup with both offenses making big plays late. The Adam Hazley homer in the 8th inning to tie the game, and a major response by Kyle Lewis to essentially win it for the Guardians. Camilo Duvall gets the win, even though he almost blew it. And overall, other than Duvall, I'm pretty happy with how Cleveland played. Seattle did not hit the ball well. Logan Gilbert was good, and Robbie Ray was honestly pretty good too. Our offense was okay. They weren't bad. They made plays when they needed to, a.k.a. the home run by Kyle Lewis. But the big story of the game was Shane Bieber. He was phenomenal, 7 scoreless, and then the bullpen was a little shaky, but Colossae was able to finish it off. That'll bring us to Game 2. Currently in the NLCS, the Cubs are up big, 2-0 on Atlanta. So if all holds up, could the Cubs represent the National League in the World Series? Imagine a rematch of 2016 between Chicago and Cleveland. That'd be fun, but Cleveland's got to take care of business first. We cannot be looking ahead at the World Series, because if we do, we are not going to get by a really feisty Seattle Mariners team who made it hard on us in Game 1. Now, if we win this game, we can really position ourselves well. Up 2-0, we'll have all the momentum, we'll be in control. But if Seattle wins this game, then things get really interesting. Here's a look at both lineups for each team. On the mound today for the Guardians will be John Means, the lefty, making his first start of the postseason. He was Cleveland's most consistent starting pitcher this year. Not that that really says a whole lot, but for the most part, he was pretty good. Andrew Benintendi at the top of the order gets things started quickly with a single into center. Benintendi played really well in Game 1, racking up 3 base hits, and he gets the leadoff runner aboard here. We'll see if the Mariners can drive him in. Bo Bichette with one away hits this one high and deep into center, and that one will stay in the ballpark, but it goes off the top of the wall. Run will score. Bichette finds himself at third with a stand-up triple, and the Seattle Mariners take a 1-0 lead. A quick start for the M's here in Game 2. That'll bring up Jared Kelenic. Had a rough Game 1, striking out 4 times as he flies out to left. Really nice throw by Valera, and Bichette is just barely safe. So the Mariners successfully complete the sacrifice fly. They lead 2-0. On the mound for Seattle will be Matt Brash, who in one postseason start has an ERA at 43.2. I don't need to tell you, that's pretty bad. So we'll see if he can rebound here. 4.8 whip. I don't think I've ever seen a whip that bad. Ketel Marte with 2 away strikes out. A quick and easy 1-2-3 inning for Matt Brash. As Seattle looks good here through the first inning. They lead 2-0 in a game that would really do the Mariners justice. Going back home to Seattle for the next 3, this would be a big win. Julio Rodriguez strikes out. Good pitch by Means for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Byron Buxton, who really is not playing against right-handed pitching at all for the Mariners. He goes down on the circle change. Good pitch by Means. In the bottom of the second, Cleveland will get their first base runner of the game off of a Jose Ramirez walk, and so he starts feeding aboard. 1 away for Alvaro Pena. He goes down looking on the changeup for the second out of the inning. Good pitch by Brash, his 3rd K of the day. And so that'll bring up George Valera now, the full count. Valera only with 1 hit so far in the postseason. He does draw a walk here, so now there's 2 on and 2 away. A big opportunity for Jesus Sanchez, who has 0 hits here in the postseason, as he weakly hits it over to third, and the throw is in time. So the Mariners are going to find themselves in a little bit of the jam there, but they get out of it as it remains 2-0. Cal Raleigh is up for Seattle here in the third, as Ramiro does a good job of deflecting it, but he cannot make the throw in time. Cal Raleigh is pretty fast for a catcher, showing it on that play, as that'll bring up Benintendi, who goes down on the sweeping curve. John Means has some nasty breaking balls, showing it there. Now facing off against the switch-hitting shortstop, Brian Rocchio, who singles into right. Cal Raleigh was already trying to steal second, so he will make his way over to third. And now the Mariners have runners on the corners and a big opportunity to give themselves a comfortable lead, and it looks like they might have just done that here. Bo Bichette hits it into center. Jesus Sanchez misplays it. So both Rocchio and Bichette are able to go a little bit farther than they would have otherwise. Obviously, Cal Raleigh scores, and thus the Mariners lead 3-0 with 2 men in scoring position. That'll bring up Jared Kelenic, who grounds it to Marte. He makes the play, but not before Rocchio scores. So Jared Kelenic does not have any hits today, but he has driven in 2 runs off of sacrifice plays. The Mariners now lead 4-0 going into the bottom of the third as Eliezer Alfonso, the young catcher, singles into left. Alfonso is now 3 for 4 in the postseason. Another guy who just seems to do better in the month of October than any other time of year. With 1 away, Ramiro grounds it to short. 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. Good work by Seattle. The Mariners are looking good through 3 as they lead the Guardians 4-0. Byron Buxton is now up. He goes down looking on the sweeping curve. Buxton was acquired the same offseason that Seattle traded away Kyle Lewis to Cleveland, and the Buxton addition was one of the main reasons why they traded Lewis away to begin with. Abraham Toro then strikes out. Good inning from John Means. It's been up and down for Means so far, but hopefully Cleveland can get one more inning out of him. Speaking of Kyle Lewis, here he is in the 4th. Hits this one into the gap for what looks like a possible extra base hit, but he is thrown out, trying to leg a single into a double, and that'll end the 4th. Cleveland has been really aggressive on the base passes so far in the ALCS, for better or worse. That time, certainly for worse. Andrew Benintendi draws a walk here in the 5th. Means his pitch count is starting to get up there. If he allows a few base runners, he might not last too much longer, but he does get through the rest of the inning, forcing a Bo Bichette ground out, and I think that's the last we'll see of John Means today. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. Not horrible, but not good, especially when the offense has done nothing so far. Alvaro Pena hits this one into left, and it's going to drop. Pena thought about 2, but he's not that crazy. I know Cleveland hasn't ran the bases well today, but they're not that stupid. So Pena starts the inning aboard here on first. We'll see if Cleveland can drive him in. Now runners on first and second. George Valera was able to reach base as Jesus Sanchez strikes out on the changeup. Sanchez still without a hit here in the postseason. 2 on, 2 away for Mr. October, Zane Rowley, who flies it into left, and it is caught. Through 5, Matt Brash has been balling for Seattle, much contrary to his first start of the postseason, as it remains 4-0. Ryan Weathers, the lefty, is in for Cleveland here in the 6th. In 2 innings of postseason play, he's allowed 1 home run so far, but other than that, hasn't done too bad. We'll see what we can do here. A guy who can maybe give Cleveland 2 solid innings as he strikes out Jared Kelenic on the circle change to open things up. That'll bring up Ty France now. 0 for 2 so far today, make it 0 for 3. He swings way too early on the circle change. That was a horribly timed play. Ketel Marte up here in the bottom half of the inning. He goes down on the changeup as Matt Brash continues to ball out. Count is full for Jose Ramirez, and he clobbers it into straightaway center field. No doubt about that one. A solo home run for Jose Ramirez, and the Cleveland Guardians are finally on the board. Ramirez with his 3rd home run here in the postseason. He continues to crush the ball here in the playoffs after hitting 37 dingers in the regular season, and thus it is now 4-1. A beautiful swing by J. Ram, an absolute no-doubter, and from there Seattle makes a pitching change, bringing in the rookie Horigami Yasumaguchi, who has an 8.1 ERA in 3.1 postseason innings. He's 6'9", 180 pounds, and has a nasty knuckleball. If you remember, we played against him in his debut, and he had some nice pitches, but Cleveland kind of knocked him up a little bit, as Kyle Lewis draws a walk. That'll bring up Alvaro Pena now, 3-2, 2 away. He draws a walk as well. So the Guardians have 2 runners on base now and a huge opportunity for George Valera. He's got the count at 2-2. Can Yasumaguchi finish off the inning? Just nasty, a knuckleball right down the middle. Valera wanted to clobber that, but he swung too early because the pitch came in so slowly. Into the 7th inning now, Buxton grounds it to Jose Ramirez, who makes a great defensive play at first base. Ramirez is starting to play a little bit more first this year, and with Alvaro Pena at 3rd base, we can expect to see J. Ram there more in the future. With 2 away, Cal Raleigh hits it into right at the track of the wall. It is gone as Raleigh is unable to make the play. The Big Dumper, that's his nickname, right? Cal Raleigh with his 2nd home run in the playoffs, 340 feet. Barely getting it over the fence, but it got over. And thus, the Mariners are back up by 4. In the bottom of the 7th, here's Jesus Sanchez. That pitch is just so nasty. Sanchez thought that pitch was going to be way high in the zone, but its ability to curve down is filthy. Eliezer Alfonso draws a walk. With Cleveland batters watching for the slow stuff, his fastballs really catch you off guard. That'll bring up Zane Rowley. Gets a changeup right down the middle, and he hits it well into left. That could have been an extra base hit had it not deflected off of the wall so quickly back into the field of play. So now there's 2 on and 1 away for Ramon Ramiro. And he gets fooled by the knuckleball again, swinging way too early because Cleveland is just not used to it. Full count here for Ketel Marte with 2 away, and Marte hits it well. He's going to hopefully drive in 2. 1 run scores. A second one. Going to come home as well. The throw from Bichette is not in time. A 2-run double for the former Mariner, Ketel Marte. And it is now 5-3. From there, Yusuma Gucci will be taken out of the game. No more knuckleballs. He'll be replaced by the lefty Devin Smeltzer, who has allowed 1 run in 2 postseason innings so far, facing off against Jose Ramirez, who homered in the last inning. Full count. Runner on second. 2 away. Ramirez hits it well into center, but I don't think it has the distance. It'll be caught. Cleveland's offense has played a lot better these last couple of innings. They got some base runners here in the 7th. They drove him in, but they're still down by 2. Camilo Duvall enters the game for the Guardians. He allowed a 2-run homer in Game 1 of this series, so hopefully he does a little bit better. Facing off against Bo Bichette. Hits it well into right. Rowley will not be able to make the play. Bichette rounds first, heads over to second, and he is safe with a double. Bichette really struggled early in the playoffs in the Yankee series and now here, but he's really finding a groove today. Jared Kelenic goes down on the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Camilo Duvall showing off his absolute gas. Now going up against Ty France. Grounds it to short. Marte makes the play, and that'll wrap up the top of the 8th. 5-3 remains your score. The Guardians' offense has shown some signs of life these last couple of innings. Can they keep it going? 2 away for George Valera. Rips it well into right, and it's barely foul. That could have been at least a double, maybe more. Following pitch now, the 2-2. And Valera is going to chop it up into the shallow outfield. Abraham Toro will come down with it. So Cleveland does not drive anybody in as it remains 5-3. Going into the 9th inning with James Karinchak checking in the game for Cleveland. He's pitched 2 scoreless innings so far in the playoffs. Facing off against Byron Buxton. Checks his swing. From the original angle, it did not look like he went around, but he did. So Karinchak sends him back to the dugout. That'll bring Abraham Toro up, hits it into shallow center. Jesus Sanchez will be under it to make the play. So that'll bring us to the bottom of the 9th. If Cleveland wants to stay perfect in the postseason, they're going to have to drive in 2 to tie and 3 to win, with the 8-9-1 hitters due up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see pinch hitters for those first 2 batters. Tyler Duffy is in for the save. 1 for 1 in save ops so far this postseason, as Dansby Swanson is up, replacing Jesus Sanchez. He strikes out on the knuckle curve. Not a particularly good start. That'll bring up Josh Bell, who is in for Eliezer Alfonso. Hits it into left, but it is caught. So now it comes down to Zane Rowley, who's been kind of quiet today. 1 for 4, does have a run. Grounds it over to second. Play is made, and there you go. The Mariners are going to make it interesting. They tie up the ALCS at 1 apiece, winning this one by the final score of 5-3. And with that, the Cleveland Guardians lose their first game of the entire postseason. Really thought we were going to go perfect, but the Mariners are playing good baseball. They steal 1 at our place. So the Mariners have some momentum with 3 games in Seattle for games 3, 4, and 5. Seattle's offense, again, was not great, but they made plays when they needed to. Bo Bichette had a couple clutch hits. Cal Raleigh with the homer. Jared Kelenic was good early with a couple sacrifice hits. Matt Brash was good, and the bullpen, although inconsistent, was able to close it out. Our offense really struggled early, and they kind of got going late, but we just really weren't able to build anything. John Means was okay, not great, but I wouldn't say he was horrible. The bullpen was fine, but they didn't do enough to help us win. So with that, this series is tied at 1. I really wouldn't be surprised if it goes 6 or 7. These Seattle Mariners are feisty. That's going to wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.